I don't necessarily think the Queen was a style icon because she didn't dress to be emulated and copied, but she had this timeless sense of style. So she was always, I suppose, in fashion. Given the fact that she was always carrying out engagements and, a very busy working woman as Queen, and, the wardrobe was really important. So she didn't ever want hemlines to be too short. She didn't want things to be showing too much flesh. She needed certain fabrics that wouldn't crease when she was getting in and out of the car, and she loved colour, so she would never wear black unless she was in mourning. For the Queen, it was all about being seen and often not heard, but the colours of her outfits and what she wore was really important. The Queen hated anything that was flimsy, so she liked weighty clothes, clothes that hung beautifully, clothes that were beautifully tailored. She loved wools and, heavier fabrics. And there was a really practical reason to not wanting to wear floaty dresses. And remember, in her youth, she had the most beautiful figure. She was absolutely gorgeous, but she hated the idea of perhaps coming down a plane or stepping out into a gust of wind and her skirts lifting up. So she very cleverly used to have her dressers stitch in weights into the hems of her skirt lines to keep those skirts hanging down in the right way and to stop them from lifting up. So I think it was always common sense and practicality above style, but she was just effortlessly stylish. I think quite a lot of the royals have learned their lessons, actually. I always remember being with the Duchess of Cambridge, as she then was, Kate. We'd arrived in Calgary, in Canada, for an engagement, and as she was on the tarmac, the wind came up, and the Duchess, who was wearing this beautiful yellow dress, didn't know what to do with herself because she was greeting a little girl. And as she did, her dress just flew up. I think those photos have not quite seen the light of day, but it just goes to show that when it comes to royal dressing, the Queen really got it right with practicality over and above style. She loved her tartans, she loved her classics. She didn't really depart too much from what she knew worked for her. So if you look back at her wardrobe, the dress coat is a staple of the royal wardrobe. Day dresses, you rarely saw her in trousers, apart from when she was riding her horse. Elizabeth never set out to be a style icon, but because she came to the throne so young, when she was in her mid-20s, 25, she was absolutely exquisitely beautiful. As a young queen, I think we forget now, but she was so glamorous. She would turn up at state dinners and receptions wearing fur stoles and dripping with diamonds and just looking absolutely exquisite. If you were lucky enough to be with her on the dance floor, she would often wear an off-the-shoulder dress and her fur stoles and look really like a movie star. She would play with colour, she loved colour, and she'd experiment with patterns as well. And I certainly think in her later years she was never afraid to wear strong colours. I always remember her at her 90th birthday celebrations, and she came out from the Buckingham Palace balcony wearing neon green, and we all christened her our Neon Queen, but it was remarkable. She could pull off neon at 90. I think because the Queen was a woman of very few words, let's not forget she never actually gave an interview. We never really knew what she felt about certain things. She used her wardrobe as a way of expressing herself. The Queen often used her wardrobe to convey messages where often she wasn't able to say anything. When she arrived in Canada, more than giving a sort of an opening speech, as soon as she stepped off the plane, there wearing red and white, or the maple brooch that the people of Canada had gifted her, more often than not she would speak, but that outfit said it all. It was her way of paying tribute to the country that she was visiting. And then when she visited Ireland, she wore green, which was the colour of Ireland. And that was just an immediate symbol of peace, love, and respect for Ireland. And I think from that moment on, the tour just went perfectly. The Queen, of course, has an extensive jewellery collection, and a lot of that is jewellery that has been gifted to her. So the people of New Zealand have given her a diamond fern brooch, which she would always wear when she went to New Zealand. The people of Canada gave her the maple leaf, also in diamonds. And what's so lovely has been to see the Queen loan that jewellery to other generations. So we saw Kate wearing the maple brooch and the Duchess of Cornwall wearing pieces of jewellery that the Queen also wore to those nations. So they have sentimental value. The Queen used jewellery to send out a message of love and affection for the nation that she was visiting, and in a lovely sort of gesture, handed it down the generations so that the Duchess of Cornwall, the Duchess of Cambridge could do the same thing. The Queen actually, I think, was most at home when she was at Balmoral or she was at Windsor and she was riding out. And so, you know, you would see the Queen in jodhpurs and a riding jacket, but she did love a tweed skirt. And even when she was up walking in the Highlands in Balmoral, it would be boots, always muddy and always flat, teamed with a tweed skirt. And she, you know, she believed in wrapping up for the weather, whether it was rain or shine. She'd always have her rain mac and her dog leads ready by the door to go out. But she did love being casual. I think that's where she felt most relaxed. I think one of the most iconic things about the Queen was her handbag. She always carried a Lorna handbag, and they carry the Royal Warrant. I think it will forever be the bag that is synonymous with the Queen. She kept very little in it: a packet of mints, a crisply folded £5 note, a compact mirror, and her lipstick. But she was never without that bag, and that bag served another really useful purpose. Other than finishing off her outfit beautifully, she would use that bag to communicate messages. If the bag moved from one hand to another, it meant the Queen wanted to be moved on. Whoever she was speaking to was deeply dull. If she put the bag on the floor, it meant she wanted to get out of that situation immediately. So the bag was really fundamental in her conveying messages to her staff.